Hello everyone. So today I'll give my first impressions on the front of the class. Spoiler, I was kind of disappointed about the book. I mean, I watched the movie and I thought the book was going to be good and it's going to help me get through my Tourettes and it was going to help me deal with my Tourettes, but it's just what I saw, I was disappointed. And I'll tell you all why. But first, I want to talk about the good things about the book. So this book was written by Brad Cohen, the guy who has a Tourette's, the guy who the movie was based off of. But I think Brad Cohen, his heart is in the right place, but I think he was just very ignorant in the book. But first I want to tell you all the good parts about the book. So I like how he describes his tics. I like how he, talks about like how the tics affect him. I liked how he talks about like how his life was, how his hardships he had to deal with, like dealing with dealing with how like his dad treated him and with how the bullies treated him and how his mom was like the only one that was accepting and how even the doctors like didn't know, which I found was weird. The doctors should have at least understood that Tourette's could have been a thing since the syndrome was around since the 1800s. Well, it was discovered in the 1800s, so I think they should have known. But anyways, but that's all I have to really say about the good parts. Here's the bad parts. I have two major issues with. One, I really hate how he emphasized that he had to work harder to get to where the other kids were, and I hate how he glorified about it. I really hate that because he said one thing he said was, um, "Oh, it's like the teacher offered me help." Either that, or he said, "I could get help, but I don't want to because then I'd be using my Tourette's as an excuse, and I don't want to do that." And it's just, I think that's very dumb and very messed up because you're not using it as an excuse. You're having equity. You know, you're you're having help that you're getting an accommodation, and that's good because, why should you work yourself out to death just to, get where everyone else is? Like, it's not always worth the reward. When it comes to reality, like, working yourself to death doesn't always work out in the end. Like, sometimes you work to death just to survive, and sometimes it's not even worth it. Like, I know what it's like to work things out, not just just not make it all work in the end. Like sometimes it's just not worth the effort. So that's why I think that like it is worth it. And I just don't like how he just says that oh it's oh like I don't want to use that as an excuse. It's just like that's not what's going on. And another thing I don't like, which I really had a problem with, is that he it's like he went to like a Tourette support group. He talked about how people felt sorry for themselves and about how he didn't want to be like those bitter people. But it's like my thought is, well, why do you think they feel sorry for themselves in the first place? Like they're probably in different circumstances than you. Yes, they have the tics. Yeah, they have tics like you, but like they could be in completely different circumstances than you. Like maybe they start having tics as adults. Maybe their tics are worse than yours, or maybe they have different tics than you. I mean, you never know because you know, like me, I've there's been days where I've felt sorry for myself, but I also try my best in a lot of things too, and it's just people sometimes feel sorry for themselves as a break to really, people sometimes feel sorry for themselves because they just need a break from just thinking I need to keep trying and they need a break from thinking it's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault because sometimes it's not everyone's fault. Sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes they can't control things and we can't keep acting like, oh well, only I can do this. Only I can. Because, like, honestly, you're not the only one to blame, okay? And we need to stop acting like, you know, you're always set with a good deck, okay? You need, you need to stop acting like your skill is everything. Sometimes, if you're dealt with a bad deck, it can really have an effect on you. And, you know, you will go through a period where you feel sorry for yourself, but you can bounce back too. And that's what he should have said instead. Like, he should have really felt more sorry for those people, because most people who feel sorry for themselves, they're not doing it to get sympathy. They're not doing it to manipulate people. They're not doing it to just get attention. They're doing it because they've given up, because they tried so hard in the past and nothing's working, you know. That's probably what it is, you know. I don't think they're doing it because they actually, you know, don't care about their life anymore. I don't think they're doing it because they just give up at the first sight of challenge. That's not what happens. At the very least, that's not what happens to me. What happens to me is, like, I've dealt with a lot of challenges in life, and it's just, sometimes it just gets to be too much. I'm just like, fuck, I hate my life. This is such bullshit. I hate how my life is. But you know what? I always try to step up to a challenge when I'm ready to. But, you know, if I feel sorry for myself, you know, that really makes a lot of sense, you know? And that's why I don't like how he described them as bitter, because, like, you have to understand why they're bitter. And that's why I don't like it. So, anyways, so I just want to ask you all, does he describe this kind of attitude throughout the book, or is it just that one part? Anyways, what about the other parts? Like, does he still talk about how you have to, like, just work against, they still talk about how you have to work harder than the other people despite your ticks? Like, I don't think that's right. I think working 100% is just doing what you can, and you don't need to work, you know, you really, like, if you're giving it 100% your best, you could just get like 8% of the work done, you know? Like, you shouldn't have to go beyond your limits. But anyways, that's all I have to say. Bye.